Hi, I'm Councilwoman Jane Bonner, and I'm down here at Cedar Beach in beautiful Mount Sinai with my friends, Father Frank Pizzarelli from Hope House Ministries, Pat and Jeff Engel, and we're here to talk about Hoops for Hope and barbecue fundraiser that we're all hosting on August 4th to raise funds for treatment and help for those suffering from addiction for Hope House Ministries. Pat?
Yeah, this is the third year we're running the tournament. It's in honor of my brother Jake Engel, who's obviously brothers with Jeff as well. It came about as a couple days after Jake's death on August 18th. We got messages from a couple of Jake's friends who wanted to do something down here. And after the event, we realized the potential it had as a community fundraiser, and here we are going forward with it.
Yeah, and it's every year it's been kind of drawn more and more attention. So the first year was in 2015, and again, as Patrick said, it happened just a week after he passed away from a heroin overdose. And our family was just so taken back with the community support that we received, and we really thought it would be a good idea to kind of bring the event forward and see how far we could go with it in terms of A, bringing the community together, and B, raising money so that concrete action can be taken, which for us is donating the money to Hope House Ministries.
And we're very appreciative of that because Jake, like his two brothers, an extraordinary student, an extraordinary young man, but unfortunately, like a growing number of young people in our community, was afflicted with addiction, and specifically a heroin addiction. He had completed our treatment program, was an extraordinary member of the community, went on to Stony Brook, was getting ready to graduate, and is unfortunately an ongoing reminder of how infectious this affliction really is, and that recovery is a day-to-day embrace, and it's hard, and it's painful, but transformation does take place, and Jake is a wonderful reminder that we have to all do more. Do more to provide opportunities for people like Jake and other young people in our community who are really ready to try to reclaim their life and transform their life. The Engel brothers are a wonderful inspiration to our larger community. Instead of burying their heads in the sand, they've made an effort to celebrate their brother's life by this wonderful Hoops for Hope basketball and barbecue tournament. For me, what was really refreshing after more than 30 years living in the community was to see how many people came out right after Jake passed away and just spontaneously put this event together. And the kind of community solidarity that emerged really has encouraged me, who's committed his life to trying to find a cure, if you will, for this affliction.
Yeah, and I really like the word you used there, transformation. For me personally, I'm sure for Pat and also the rest of my family, after Jake did pass away, and still, of course, we're completely devastated, and you know, things are never going to go back to the way they were before Jake passed away. But this idea of a transformation, for me at least, gives me a lot of hope for the future, where people do actually kind of change and escape from addiction. Freedom from addiction is possible. And I think one of our kind of main beliefs with this event is that this transformation can't only operate at the individual level, but the community as a whole needs to come together and create the type of environment where people suffering from addiction can change themselves and develop new habits so they don't need to rely on drugs.
And where we help you, where the town steps in to help you, to provide the opportunity for you to host your event here every year, which is something we're very happy and proud to do. Transformation stuck out in your mind, hope stuck out in mine, because without hope, we don't have anything. We don't. And with Father Frank and his many years of experience and all the lives that he's touched and helped save on his interaction on a day-to-day basis, this is the second event that we've held at Cedar Beach to benefit Hope House. In the early spring, we held the Walk for Hope, where we were pretty successful in raising over $30,000, and I'll never forget what Father Frank said. We raised enough money for him to buy milk for the year.
Yep.
So I think our goal should be to raise more than that because they need just more than milk.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Pat.
To build on what all three of them just said there, in terms of it being a community-driven event for hope, awareness, whatever you want to call it, this year we're building out even more than we had in the past. We have teams from Miller Place, Sound Beach, Mount Sinai, Rocky Point, Port Jefferson, even a team from Pennsylvania. So to build on the hope and that entire concept, it's awareness as well is something that we're trying to push forward.
And I think what Pat just said, I think to me is really key as someone who's in the thick of the recovery movement, is that finally people from community are coming together acknowledging this issue. I mean, the painful loss of a son and a brother one can never really fully understand that unless you've walked that road. And Jake was not that profile that most people unfortunately prejudicially have in their head. Jake was an extraordinary guy, personality personified, talented athlete, gifted student from a wonderful, intact family, but somehow got caught by this terrible affliction and even got released. But the complexity of this issue and the fact that we continue to hoist shame, blame, and guilt on people that struggle is something that we really have to confront. And what's so refreshing about these two brothers is that they have, with the effort of friends, rallied an entire community. And as Pat has said, it's gone beyond just our Miller Place community to reach out, and I am confident, knowing these young men, that it will continue to grow. You know, the money is important, but I think the education and awareness and getting the community committed to this national health crisis
It really is.
critical.
And you know, we talk about it all the time, and I don't know what the secret answer is, Father. How do we strip away the shame and the embarrassment and families just wanting to bury their head in the sand and not confront it? And then you have the family like the Engels that have torn the covers back, opened the curtains, and where many would have just pulled the covers over their head, they've decided to take a tragedy and create an opportunity to bring awareness, to bring education, to let people know that there is life after such tragedy, and that people and communities can band together to help more and to help others in need. So you guys are really, really an unbelievable family.
Yeah, and this idea of kind of bringing addiction out of the shadows, I don't even think I don't think that's a huge problem anymore. Because now it's every 2 or 3 days you hear about someone from Rocky Point, Miller Place, Mount Sinai overdosing and dying from heroin or fentanyl or prescription pills. So it's almost impossible to hide it anymore.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
No community is immune.
Yeah, no community is immune. And a startling statistic that I just read when I was kind of doing some research on all of this is that only 12 to 25% of people who need treatment for addiction actually get it, according to a recent national survey. So one of our hopes for raising money for Hope House is to allow them to provide care and treatment for more people. Because it's really scary when you think about someone who is suffering from heroin addiction, who wants to get help, but who can't because there's a limited amount of resources for their care.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to what Father said and what Jeff said, a lot of that is probably due to the fact that a large portion of the community thinks that addiction is caused by the individual and there's zero underlying causes or something like that. But then you look at mine and Jeff's brother, Jake, and he was, again, as Father said, an extremely well-off person, tremendously bright, good-looking guy, good athlete, very personable, yet he was suffering from these demons as well. So that's a major issue for us that we like to focus on, to change the perception of something like that.
So on August 4th, Hoops for Hope basketball tournament, and it will be a traveling tournament. There's a team coming from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So we hope to build on that, and a barbecue, and all money raised. And will there be t-shirts? T-shirts are important. People like t-shirts.
Yeah, no, we have t-shirts, we have bracelets, we have a Facebook page. just search Hoops for Hope Barbecue. We have an Instagram page, and we have a website, Hoops for Hope Barbecue, dbq.org.
Yes.
And just to also, the reason that we do have this tournament at Cedar Beach, this was Jake's favorite place in the world, the place that he was most at peace. He loved fishing here, playing basketball here, clamming in the back harbor. So it's a special place for us to remember Jake, but also for other people to come and kind of take part in this transformation we're trying to achieve.
And gentlemen, I thank you as always. Thank you not only for giving a human face to an issue that affects every family everywhere, but as Ms. Bonner said, having the courage to come forward as a family to remind us in Jake's memory, because Jake would be the first to be out there reminding us that we can't be silent when there's injustice and when something needs to be addressed. And the fact that you guys have put this together is an ongoing inspiration for me to continue the fight, to raise awareness, to get government to move out of its ineptness, to see that we need more treatment beds, not just in Port Jefferson, but around the country.
Around the country.
So I thank you.
And again, we would also like to thank the town of Brookhaven and Hope House Ministries for their continuous support every year.